Last week, we asked a question. Who are you when you stop performing? You already know you wear a mask. We've been here before. The different versions of yourself for different rooms. The gap between what you show and what you feel. You know what the persona is. But here's what we haven't talked about. What happens when the person you love asks you to take it off? Because the mask doesn't just affect how you move through the world, it shapes who you are in your closest relationships. And that's where it does the most damage, because that's where it's hardest to see. Think about the beginning of a relationship. You're at your best, attentive, patient, interesting. You laugh at the right things. You reveal just enough vulnerability to seem deep without scaring them off. You're not lying, but you're editing. Hard. And this works. It's supposed to work. Attraction starts with the curated version. The problem is that months later, sometimes years later, you're still editing. The performance that was supposed to be an introduction became the whole relationship. You became the easygoing one, the strong one, the one who doesn't need too much, the one who always has it together. And the other person, they fell in love with that version. That's the trap. The better the performance, the more you feel like the love isn't really for you. It's for the role. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice keeps asking, if they saw the real version, would they stay? So you don't find out. You keep performing. And the distance between who you are in the relationship and who you actually are keeps growing, until one day, something cracks. The mask cracks because intimacy demands what the performance can't give. At some point, the relationship stops asking for your best self and starts asking for your real one. It asks for vulnerability, not the curated kind, not the Instagram caption kind, but the kind that feels dangerous. Anger you've never shown. Needs you've never named. The parts of yourself you decided long ago were too much. And this is the moment most relationships hit the wall. Because you have two options. You can reinforce the performance, become more controlled, more guarded, more fine, and the other person feels the distance growing, but can't name why. Or you can let the mask crack and risk showing the person underneath. Most people choose the first option, not because they're cowards, because the performance was built to protect something fragile. Underneath it is the part of you that was told, explicitly or implicitly, that who you actually are is not enough, too emotional, too intense, too needy, too much, not enough. The mask was the solution to that message, and now the relationship is asking you to set down the solution and feel the original wound. Of course that's terrifying. But here's what's even more terrifying: the distance. Because when you keep performing in a relationship, the other person doesn't feel loved. They feel managed. And you don't feel loved either, because the love is going to a version of you that doesn't exist. You're starving in a room full of food that's not for you. So what does it look like to stop performing in a relationship? It doesn't look like a dramatic confession. It doesn't look like dumping your entire history on the other person and calling it authenticity. That's just another performance, the performance of being real. Dropping the mask looks quieter than that. It looks like saying, "I don't know," when you usually pretend to have the answer. It looks like saying, "That hurt me," instead of going silent for 3 days. It looks like asking for help when every part of you wants to handle it alone. It looks like letting the other person see you when you're not at your best, not as a test, but because you've stopped curating. And this is where the relationship becomes real or ends, because when you change, the contract changes. The other person fell in love with the performance. When you show them something different, some people can't handle it. Not because there wasn't love, but because the love was built on a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. And that's grief, real grief, even when the relationship needed to end. But the relationships that survive it, the ones where both people can say, "This is who I actually am," and the other person stays, those are the relationships that change you. Not because the other person fixes you, because they witness you, the real you. And that witnessing is the thing you've been performing to avoid needing. 3 questions. Sit with these. 1. Think about the person closest to you. What is one thing about yourself that you consistently edit around them? Not the big secrets, the small daily adjustments, the opinions you don't voice, the needs you don't name, the emotions you swallow. What would it cost you to stop editing? 2. When you imagine showing up in that relationship without any performance, no role, no script, what's the feeling that comes up? Relief? Terror? Both? That feeling is pointing at the wound the performance was built to cover. 3. Think about a relationship that ended or became distant. Was there a moment where you could have dropped the mask and chose not to? What were you protecting? And what did that protection cost you? The performance kept you safe when you needed it. It got you through situations where the real you wouldn't have survived. But you're not in that situation anymore. And the people in your life now, the ones who matter, they're not waiting for a better performance. They're waiting for you, the actual one, the one who's afraid that if they stop performing, no one will stay. That fear is the last mask, and it's the one worth taking off. Next week, we're pulling back to look at the bigger picture. We've gone deep into the shadow, into identity, into the mirror of relationships. Now, we're asking, what holds all of this together? What's the structure underneath your personality? The architecture of your psyche that decides who you become? This is the depth work.